presents, I think, week 14 of Brian and Ed, 31 more days. Let's go to the countdown. We are now at day 43 in quarantine. Hope everyone is feeling well out there. But don't let me just sit here and talk to myself all alone. Let's bring in the star of the show, the reason you're here. He's bald, he's beautiful, and he's ready to take on the world. Welcome to quarantine, Ed Troop.
There it is. What's going on, man?
How are you, buddy?
We are back at it again. Here we go.
Whew, 31 more days. I was hoping that the governor would say, "Hey, the show's been canceled. We're going to be, we're going to be getting back to normal." But that's not the case. We still, it seems like at least May 8th. Although today, big announcement, May 1st, public golf courses are open. I don't golf, so I'll still be home. Marinas are open. I don't have a boat, so I'll still be home. And private cabins, or I don't have a private cabin, so
no cabin, right?
You have a private cabin?
Yeah, no private marina. Is it marina down there? Marina.
Yeah, you go down there to Southside or over Fox Chapel Yacht Club over at the marina. That's going to be open, but 3 things I don't have. Wolf said, "Let's do it." So
yeah, and I used to golf before I had kids, and now that I have 2 boys, there's no time to golf. And the only way you get good at golf is when you play golf on a regular basis. So if you play once or twice a year, forget about it. And I've grown so frustrated with it. I'm unwilling to give up the money and give up 4.5 hours on one of my Saturdays to go out and struggle the entire time and be mad.
Yeah. I had clubs for a long time. When I first married, had clubs, had shoes, was into it, took some lessons, felt good about it. And one day I went out of frustration, and it was like a 90-degree day, and I sweat through all my clothes, and I hated it. And then mysteriously, when my wife Marcy was pregnant, my golf clubs got sold. I came home, and they were mysteriously gone. And then the next day, my golf shoes mysteriously were gone.
And imagine that. And you're a lefty, so that's not that's not easy to come by as far as equipment.
That's right. Yeah, so I'm sure Marcy got a little pretty penny there for selling all my stuff while I wasn't looking. And that pretty much, if Michael Jordan's wife sold all the basketballs in the garage, his career probably would be over. There's nothing left. So my golf career was over very fast. But then the baby came and everything was great. And those first couple weeks, husband and wife, baby mommy, baby daddy. Maybe it was good that I didn't have golf clubs, so my wife didn't hit me over the head with them.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's funny, I have a lot of golf equipment here, probably stuff that I should be selling that I'm not using. But from what I read, and I don't know if the governor came out with this today, but from what I read last week is they wanted people to not pick out the flag out of the hole. So you don't want to touch the flag. You don't want to no exchange like cash or anything. It's all like plastic and everything as far as paying. Right. And they want 1 golfer per cart, so no teaming up in the cart and riding around together. There's just only
individual carts. It makes sense, and you can't, if you have a long putt, you can't pull the stick out and go, "You're the man." No more of that. Leave the flag in.
All of the eldermen that I know that play golf. My father-in-law being a big one. He's a great golfer. Your dad. And there's a lot of other ones out there too that are in that older crowd. I have a hard time thinking that they're going to obey by any of those rules once they leave the clubhouse. But
I have breaking news for you on my dad. He already told me he will not be golfing this season.
Well, he said, and I've talked to your mom too, man. They are pretty serious about this, and I love that. That's the way we all should be. So God bless them. I'm glad that they're doing that. I'm glad they're.
He announced it. He was like, "I don't care what it is. I'm not going out. They're taking it serious." But those are interesting, the rules on it. Now, one thing I saw, unfortunately, that I was into that is canceled. It was just announced. Was the furry convention in Pittsburgh was just announced, canceled. So the furries will not be coming to town because of coronavirus this year.
What a weird thing, right? I never understand the furries. There's like a just a weirdness about it. I mean, other than the most obvious of people, just grown people dressing up in a a furry outfit.
Yeah.
But there's like what's weird is there's like a weirdness, like sexual type thing to that too, isn't there out there?
Oh yeah, right. I think
But-
I think like by day everyone's happy and everyone's having the parade and they're running
Right.
around and pretending that they're like she cats and I don't know what else goes. I haven't been there. I have no idea. But at night, yeah, I do think that there's I think these suits are definitely need to go to the dry cleaner after the after the furry convention. But I heard people have told me it's fun and it's family friendly. Like when they have the parade downtown, like you should go because it's a blast. And I don't know. Here's my question though on it. Of all events that should happen in town, don't these people wear masks? Like, and not just like me, like a scarf at Home Depot. Like, look at this guy, this pink guy next to you, Ed. That's like the biggest hunkin mask that can block every disease. I would think it should happen.
Yeah, you would think that this would be one area that should be safe. But I have seen pictures though of some that just like put the makeup on. I think or do they all have the hat? Maybe they have to have the things. I don't know.
Yeah, see, I think that the whole thing is you're not supposed to know who's who. So, and I've never been there, but I thought that the whole thing was you're not supposed to know who's who. So the mask would protect you. But I guess again, the coronavirus takes down another massive event that belongs in the city. Now look at this guy. I didn't know that this goes on, and I have a lot of questions on him. Here's a guy who obviously has served in the United States military, and he wants to celebrate the furry convention. He's not allowed to do it this year.
He's got a lot of medals on there too, man. Not only is he's a high-ranking furry official.
Yeah, well, that's either Mad Dog Maddox or Norman Schwarzkopf. I mean, no one else has that many medals on. I mean, that's tremendous. He deserves, I want to say if this person's listening, if this fox with that red hat on, if he's listening or she's listening, thank you for your service. God bless you.
Please, yeah, absolutely. And or is it like Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men? Is like,
Yeah.
Did you go to the furry convention? You're god darn right I did.
Jen said that she used to see them in town every year. They don't all wear full masks. I guess so. Some of them look like Taylor Swift and James Corden from Cats. Some of them have like the makeup on. But that's a bummer. I know that's a big event. A friend of mine works for Visit Pittsburgh, and the furries take up a lot of hotel rooms, and you probably need some extra maids. I'm just saying. And a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of people are eating, a lot of money comes into town. That's a bummer that they won't be here this year. I'm gonna miss them, and in honor of it, I'm gonna buy a suit and run around my own house with it.
Well, when you do that, you definitely have to take some pictures, man. Get us into that. Let's do it. Yeah. I want to see it.
Did you ever watch Entourage when Johnny Drama?
Of course.
He was a furry for one of the episodes.
Yes. Hilarious. Anything furry related, you can probably kind of go off on that. But I did just see that right before we came on, they announced that was canceled.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this guy won't be in town. Sorry, sir, but thank you for your service.
Thank you.
But wait, go away, please. Thank you. Sorry, hit the wrong button, and he came back. Yeah, I was at Home Depot today, and I'm worried. Right before we clicked live, we were chatting about how do we feel right now. I feel like I'm starting to wear down. Like if I was imprisoned with like information and like the government wanted that information, now that we're about day 43, I'm ready to give it just so I can either be killed or leave.
So
I'm going to be like, it was Ed Troop. Ed Troop did it. He killed him. I have the weapon.
So
Let me out of here.
So what you're saying is you would only last about a month as far as being, but that's pretty impressive, man. If you can make a whole month, they might even let you go. By that point, they might be like, he's never going to talk. Let him go.
Yeah. I'm like 5 days of not working out, eating like a pig. It rained on Sunday. I went out on Sunday yesterday, or any day. It's the same anymore. There's no Sundays anymore. It's just today. So my whole family's napping in the house because it's raining really hard. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going for it. So I put a raincoat on, and I walked around my neighborhood in that monsoon, and I listened to depressing music in my earbuds. And I thought, this is the end. This is the moment where Tony Soprano drives down the street and just wipes me out.
What did you do? Did you look like Bruce Willis in Unbreakable? Remember the movie Unbreakable, where he's a Philadelphia Eagles security guard. That's what he does, and he has a rain jacket on. It's like the worst rainstorm you'd ever see, just pouring rain, dripping everywhere, and he's predicting who's evil and who's not evil.
Well, I had a sweatshirt, and then I put a zip up on, and then I put a rain jacket on, and so I had 3 hoods on my head. I had these oversized Steeler pants that I bought at Heinz Field that are size like 5X.
Right.
And I looked like I weighed like 600 pounds walking through the neighborhood because then the rain jacket kept it all in real tight. And I was just worried that people thought that I was a psycho. And, maybe they're half right.
Out in the middle of a rainstorm. It was cold yesterday too, man, with the rain. It was like a cold rain.
I got home. I know what I was doing.
Which is the worst, because I'd rather if it's going to be cold, I'd rather it be snow. I hate rain and cold. Snow and cold I'm okay with. Warm and rain I'm okay with, but that like 40 to 50 degrees rain is just nasty stuff, man. Nasty.
Hi, and let's say hello. A couple people are watching. Hi, Janet. Hi, Amy. Hi, Renee. Hi, Kevin. Big Nick. Sholey. Hi, Nick. Hi, Dina. Hi, Patty. Hi, Megan. Hi, Doug. Anthony. Frank. Roger Jr. Hi, Mike. The Arnolds. Hello, Mike and Jen. Hi, Patty. Patty Nickel, one of our clients. Hi, Stacy. Andrew. Chris Shevlin, the voice of Robert Morris, is watching. Hi, Chris. And Chris is going to be on the show with us, I think, either Thursday or Friday to talk a little bit about the season that was not, because Robert Morris men's basketball team, they were on the way to the dance. And also the women's team was ready to, I think, go to the finals. And so 2 teams that got, and you feel for seniors and people who work that hard, and bonuses for coaches, but both of those teams, they were ready to dance.
Yeah, they were, and they had a couple impressive games there at the end too. That championship game that RMU won there at the end. That the place.
That's right, they made it.
Place was packed, and they won the NEC championship and punched their ticket to the NCAA basketball tournament. And then it was the following like few days after that tournament that they started canceling everything. So
one of the referees had coronavirus, they announced the game.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't go.
That's right down the road from you too, man.
Right. I could have easily went. I had a ticket for that game. I didn't go.
Yeah, anxious to get his thoughts on the RMU program too, and the football program, where it's heading. So that'll be definitely good later this week.
Yeah, that RMU game also, if you remember, is when that student made that half-court shot and jumped up on the scorer's table.
Yeah.
One chicken play for life.
That's right. That is absolutely here. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was tremendous. And that guy jumped up on the scorer's table. The PA announcer, Adam Gusky, who we went to Point Park with.
Yes, Adam.
Who, by the way, I sent him a message the next day, and I said, "Hey, you made SportsCenter top 10." And I said, "First time, congratulations." Wasn't. He actually was on SportsCenter top 10 when Robert Morris beat Kentucky like 7 years ago in the the NIT tournament?
Yes, the NIT. Yep.
Yes. Hi, Larry. Larry says, "We're here for our evening entertainment." Well, welcome, Larry. I'm sorry to hear that.
That's right. Sorry you got stuck with the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Is this our 4th week or our 5th week?
This is week 500. I don't know. Hey, coming up, going to be joining us here in a few minutes, Robby Incmikoski from AT&T Sports. He does Penguins pregame, and also, of course, he's the sideline guy for the Pirates, which is a good job. Can't wait to talk to him. Ed, did you leave the house this weekend?
I did not. I left today. Today was the first time I'd left since last Thursday. I actually wasn't. I wish I would have known you were at Home Depot. We could have did like a drive-by in the parking lot and talked for a little bit. I wasn't at Home Depot, but I was near there. I was at Sam's Club for a pickup this afternoon, and then over to GFS. And in between, I stopped at McDonald's for the first time. I had my son Rhino with me, and Ryan said he was complaining he was hungry. So I said, "Well, where do you want to go?" And he said chicken nuggets from McDonald's. And I was like, you know what? From our conversation last week, I was like, I have not had McDonald's since this whole thing shut down. So got a double cheeseburger, man, and some fries. Shared some food
perfect. And McDonald's is not on my top 5 list of grossest fast food restaurants. So you had to feel good about it.
You have to teach your kids the right way, and he's 9. He should know by now. But I said, Rhino, I said, there's nothing better than McDonald's French fries. They are the best. Absolutely the best.
They're definitely better than Wendy's.
Oh, not even close, man. Nothing beats McDonald's French fries, especially if you're fortunate enough, like we were today, to get them hot. Like they basically just took them out. You get them; they're very hot and crispy. Perfect, man.
I was at Home Depot and I wore the mask. My wife made a mask out of a T-shirt, and it's just I don't know. It's weird going to Home Depot. There's still a lot of people there, so I put the mask on, and like all you see is this. Like it's weird, and my glasses fog up because those exhaust from my nose comes out and then gets right up and steams me up. So I look even more psycho than I really look. But I'm worried about the mask world because it's like a soulless world. Like no one looks at each other. No one knows if you smile, no one can even see your eyes. And I'm just worried, like, is this the future where we're just like robots? And like I saw an old person and she saw me, and normally I would just walk right past her and say, oh, hello, or something. And then like we both had that moment where we thought, oh my God, should we not be this close to each other? This is bad.
Yes. So I've gone with the same type of look. I know exactly what you mean, because I've actually put on the sunglasses, and then the thing, and then I have the hat on, and then my homemade thing that goes around. And you're right, my sunglasses steam up all the time, so then I can't see it. I'm like, hey, hey, I'm here to pick up my order, and I can't see anything. I'm like,
right. Hey. And you look like a psycho, right? People are scared of you.
But I'm now telling, like, the person came out from Sam's Club. They're so nice. They have like they now put like in a big bin, and they're like, here you go. And I'm like, you can just set that down right there. I'll get it in a minute. Thank you so much, though. Thank you. And they set it down. But I don't want to hand something from somebody. Receive something.
My parents don't care. My dad turned 70. There's people at Giant Eagle. I saw it in action. We happened to be at the Market District at the same time. He does not want to touch anybody, see anybody. I believe he's 70 and he's in great shape. A 90-year-old woman put groceries in my dad's car, and he would not get out of the car. And I thought, come on, get out of the car and just help her, or at least say something or do something. Nothing. It automatically went up. She was done. It automatically went down, and he is gone. He's tunnel vision.
He's out. Dude, I'm not messing around with that stuff either. I'm with your dad, man. I started thinking about this over the weekend, and I'm like, even when we are allowed out, where are you on like the scale? Like you have the people that are like your parents, which I don't think is wrong at all. Like are 100% like, I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm staying indoors. You have the other folks that we've seen even today at Sam's Club. I'm sitting there waiting for my order, and there's people walking in, a group of family with no masks on, nothing, and they're just going about their day like everything's normal. I kind of fall in the middle. I'll tell you more about that in a second, but where do you fall?
Well, my mask kept falling down and my nose was exposed today, and I thought that someone was going to call the police on me. So I'm just mask weird. It's freaking me out. Now, Alex said that if your glasses are fogging up, that means air and air molecules are escaping around the mask, and it defeats the purpose. Oh, I didn't. Wow. I'm sorry. This is why I shouldn't be outside.
So that's it, man. Well, you know what? I mean, I have it over top. I don't know. I'm not getting close. I'm still staying 6 feet or further.
Yeah. So let's say Wolf said that you can go to a marina on May 1st. If you had a boat, if you went, what would you look like? You'd have the mask. You'd have the rubber suit. You'd stay 6 feet from other boats.
I just don't know what to do, man. I don't know where this is going to head. Even like if tomorrow Governor Wolf said, okay, your guys are good, just wear a mask. I don't think I'd be going too many places. I don't think I'd be doing too much. I'm not ready, and I'm not going to go to a Starbucks or a Panera and sit there with a mask on and worry that someone's coughing on me. I'm going to give this some time. When Wolf says May 8th, I'm going to slowly get out around June 8th and see what happens. I agree, man. I'm with you. Hey, let's not make him wait any longer. Robby Incmikoski from AT&T Sportsnet is joining us. Let's click the button and bring him in. To be excited to see him. I'm a big fan. Hey, Robby, how you doing, man?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
How are you?
I'm all right. Just hanging out here in beautiful Pittsburgh, where I've been stuck since, late March 12th, and did some yard work just to see some fresh air. And, that's it. See if I can get my hat straight. And
Rob, you got that hat on. When's the last time you had a haircut?
Actually, I could tell you exactly when it was. It was March 5th. So
Oh,
typically I'm once a month. So we're at April 27th. So I'm about 3 weeks overdue.
yeah. I was
So
gonna say you're due.
I would not go on the air with this due right now.
Yeah, there's no way. What a strange turn of events, right? Because when did you go to Bradenton for spring training?
I went down, let's see, February 20th, I went down. They were still at Pirate City. They had not yet moved to Lecom Park yet. And I went, so the first game was the 23rd, and then I came home March 12th. So what, 3 weeks, a little over, like maybe exactly 3 weeks it was when I was there. And we were all kind of taken by surprise by the whole thing, with the progression of the coronavirus. And then on a Wednesday night, I'd gotten back to my my place in Florida and saw that the NBA had shut down. I said, "Oh, that's literally only a matter of time before
Right.
everything shuts down." And next day, that was it.
Are you hearing anything right now about what's going to happen in baseball? What's your hottest rumor that you're hearing?
I've actually asked that question to people within the Pirates myself. Anybody that tells you they know something is a damn liar. Nobody knows anything. The government, the CDC, they're the ones that are going to determine that. And the Major League Baseball at some point in time is going to come out with a plan. But I'm not just giving you the stock answer. I literally have no idea. I'm just waiting to hear, and then whatever they tell me is when we get going.
Robby, what do you think of the idea that was most recently on the plate for Major League Baseball to play in Arizona and play all of these games out there and kind of quarantine all the players and everybody associated with this? It seemed kind of extreme, but it also seemed like a path possibly to be able to watch some MLB this year.
I think a lot of that at this point in time I think it's speculation, to be honest with you. I mean, it's all speculation because nobody honestly knows what's going to end up happening. It could be a number of things. How are you going to keep everybody together? I don't know. I think that's just a tough question. How are you going to keep guys, between the hotel room, the bus, the clubhouse, and the playing field? I just think it would be a pretty hard thing to do to manage that amount of people for that amount of time. I think that'd be kind of a tough thing to do. But that being said, I mean, people want baseball. I want it. You guys want it. The players want it. The coaches want it. Everybody wants it. I mean, from the business side, there's money to be made. Let's be realistic. Tucker Barnhart, the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds, said, let's be honest here. We want to play as many games as we can because we want to make as much money as we can. The TV networks want it. I don't know how it's going to go in terms of fans and, when they're going to allow fans into the ballparks or not. Who knows? But I just think whatever is going to be feasible to play games, even if it's made for television like the NBA or the NHL, I think you're going to see it as soon as possible. That's just my personal opinion, not based off any fact or anybody that I've talked to.
Well, it's almost like they would try to figure out the way that the government is doing now, who's essential and who's non-essential. You'd say, all right, who's essential for the game? And unfortunately, you would get wiped out of that. They would say, well, we don't want Robby to get within 6 feet of Colin Moran, so we're going to keep him out of the ballpark, and we're going to let these guys go. You announce it. You have one camera. You announce it from a site off site, and try to give it a ride. I think.
Yeah, well, something like that. I think they would really work with in terms of who's essential, who's not.
Right.
There are so many ways to do a game. I don't know how familiar you are with the television world, but every year at the they have the world feed for the Super Bowl every year. So, and that broadcast goes everywhere except the United States. And every other country that carries the Super Bowl takes that one feed from that one truck. So there's a possibility that, there could be one central feed. I mean, I have no idea. I have no clue. And none of this has ever been discussed. And I'm not privy to any knowledge. I'm just saying it's possible where you could send one crew per stadium, and then other crews can take that feed and do, whatever they choose to do with it. There are just so many options in terms of technology that's out there. I mean, you look at the world feed. I worked it one year back in 2003. I worked the world feed broadcast, and it was what they did is they took the American announcers and they would mute those. And then the announcers in other countries would announce it in their own language. and they would put their own graphics to it. They would use whatever camera shots they want to use. They would use their own statistics, that type of thing. So it's something that's definitely possible where you can say that the Phillies are playing the Cubs in Arizona, or excuse me, the Pirates are playing the Cubs in Arizona. Okay. And they could play each other at Sloan Sports Park, which is where the Cubs have their spring training. And you can just take a camera feed from just a core crew that's there, and you could have the announcers in Chicago and in Pittsburgh, and they're calling the game from a studio.
Right.
You know, just anything's possible. And you can do that with any sport. I mean, anybody could do it. The NFL could do it. I mean, basketball, hockey, it's possible for, you know, it happens all the time where people announce games. ESPN did it this year with a West Virginia game. They, you know, the announcers were in a studio and they just sent a courtside reporter to do interviews for the game. And the play-by-play and the color guy weren't even at the arena in Morgantown.
Wow. Could be the direction that this business might be going in. Robby, you were one of the few individuals that were around I mean, there was a lot, but as far as, you know, around the Pirates this past spring training, I mean, you were down there for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, looking at this team for just to switch gears a little bit from the current COVID-19 situation, looking at this team, what was your early, and I know it was early because you weren't there very long, but what was your early thoughts on the 2020 Pirates?
Well, first of all, there's an energy that just has not been seen around the team in years. Probably since 2013, 14, 15, since the playoff years, you know, maybe even in the early 16, there was an energy that just hasn't it's been at least a handful of years since there's been that kind of energy around the team. So everybody's super duper excited to play for Derek Shelton, Ben Cherington, Travis Williams, new management structure. And then you got, you know, largely a new staff. You have a new pitching coach. You have, you know, the same hitting coach. But, you know, you have a new first base coach, Tarek Brock. You have Joey Cora returning. You have, you know, you have a whole new philosophy and just a whole new approach to the game that this team hasn't seen in a couple of years. But there was just a ton of energy, a ton of excitement. There was music playing in the batting cages. I mean, that hasn't happened in, I don't ever recall it happening in my time with the Pirates in 7 seasons covering them. So there's just a significant amount of energy that's with this team. And another thing, I mean, look, it's just super easy for anybody to say, oh, the Pirates, you know, they're going to stink. They're not a 100-loss team. Like, they're just not, based off talent alone. They are not a 100-loss team. They're just not. There's no other way to put it. They're not that bad. They're not.
Right.
And the other thing is you have to look at the difference in their approach to analytics. And I think they're going to get a lot from the guys that are currently on the roster. I think you're going to see some significant improvements. And that's just my personal opinion, just based off, you know, what I see being around guys and talking to a couple guys. I just think the approach to analytics, especially on the pitching side, you're going to see a significant improvement from guys like a Mitch Keller. Obviously, Chris Archer's had a rough go since he's come to the Pirates. Obviously, Chris Archer's talent is there. I mean, guys have, you know, made 4 opening day starts. He's a 2-time All-Star. He was the ace of the Rays for a long time. So I think you're going to see a significant improvement from guys that you have on the roster. And I think on the hitting side too, I mean, that really started to pick up significantly last year. Josh Bell had a month of May that was, you know, arguably a top 3 or 4 greatest month in the history of baseball.
Yep. I
mean, 12 doubles, 12 homers. And you look at the statistical side that only Hank Aaron and Frank Robinson, I believe it was 1969, 68 or 69. That's the only time ever in the history of baseball that's ever happened.
Wow.
And the numbers were just off the charts. And of course, Josh, if you asked him, he would say he wants to be a little more consistent because his June wasn't as good as he would have liked. But I just think when you put all that together, if Brian Reynolds can follow up, Gerard Dyson, the offensive numbers aren't where they need to be, but the guy's defense is incredible. He's unbelievable. He's like a vacuum in center field. I just think they're going to be better than people think. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're going to win the division. They're going to make the playoffs. I mean, that would be ridiculous to say, but they're going to be better than people think they're going to be. And I hope that
the second half of last season was so astronomically bad and unfortunate and unlucky and all the injuries. No team goes through that. So I felt like it was wasn't a fair representation of the team.
Yeah, it was kind of a perfect storm of
crap.
Yeah, I mean, you look at injuries. I mean, 4-24 coming out of the All-Star break when you're well, I think 4-4 and 44 and 45, I believe, off the top of my head, they were game under 500, 2.5 out of first place, and there was a cluster of teams that were in there. But it's just that's not going to happen again. I mean, that's just
when did you find out that Clint Hurdle was fired? Was it when you got to work that morning? And what happens as a reporter for that moment?
It's actually funny. So the game was at 3:00. We typically eat dinner about an hour and a half before first pitch. It's about 2 hours, probably somewhere like generally about 2 hours to an hour and a half before first pitch. We usually get together in the press dining room. We eat something before the pregame show starts. So we sit in there, and I I was in there waiting, just relaxing, quite honestly, at 2:00, an hour before game time. And I got a text from a friend of mine in Minnesota who said, what do you think of the move? And I'm like, the hell are you talking about? What move? He's like, Hurdle. And then as soon as I took my phone out, my email loaded, which stated that Clint Hurdle had been relieved of his duties. So I found out when everybody else did. I had no idea.
And what do you do? Do you go on the run? Do you look for him? Do you try to find anybody to talk to? Is there a meeting that's going to happen amongst you?
Yeah. So what had happened was at 2. So the email was put out somewhere between like 1:45 and 2:00. I don't remember exactly, but I saw it at about 2:05. I saw it. Neil Huntington was meeting with the media in 10 minutes. Fortunately, I was in the next room, so I didn't have far to travel other than about 35 feet. I went over to that, and I was told to listen to the press conference for about 10 minutes, and then get your rear end out there, and you're gonna talk about what Neil is saying, and we're going to play some of Neil's sound bites from that. And we had to hustle on the fly. We had to revise the entire show less than 30 minutes before we hit air at 2:30, and it was pretty impressive. And our producers did a great job of that.
Yeah, I remember watching it. Good work.
You know, Robby, the Clint Hurdle thing's always interesting to me because I felt like he had such a good run. I mean, obviously the playoff years and in the mid 2010s, here towards the end, you know, even a couple years ago, they finished above 500, right? It was really the second half of last year. Do you ultimately think the team out of the All-Star break in the second half of last year is what ultimately sunk Clint Hurdle, or did it just been years and years kind of building up to this was, hey, he had 10 years with the club and it was time to move on?
I think it's a combination of things, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I think when any coach or manager gets fired, I don't think we really ever know the real reason. Unless like you see, a situation, you see it a lot in the NFL when teams struggle and the media hype just gets so big that the owner has to make a move at some point just to appease the fan base. I don't think that was the case here. I just think it was a few things. I just think it was kind of a situation where they wanted a little bit of a refreshing voice, a new voice, kind of a change in philosophy type thing. And then you look at the numbers. I mean, yeah, they won, I believe it was 82 games in 2018, but that was, let's be honest, it was a little bit of window dressing there. They weren't really competitive for the division or competitive for the playoffs at that point in time, but they did finish strong. And they did put a winning record, in the history books, which obviously is a good thing. But I just think there wasn't a real sense of feeling that it could happen, where, this team had a consistent chance year in and year out to win. And, Bob Nutting paid a lot of money to make those changes. So I know the easy thing is to hammer on Bob Nutting and his spending habits, but he paid a lot of money to let go of Neil Huntington, like Clint Hurdle.
Hurdle's having a great season this year.
Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of people that win at the business of football. I mean, Clint Hurdle and the guy's had just a tremendous career. I mean, done a lot of great things as a player, as a manager, as a coach. People forget the 2010 Texas Rangers. He was their hitting coach. Right. I mean, he made the World Series, was an American League champ in 2010. So
it's not that he needed the money, career. Right? Not that he needed the money. He was offered that coach for the hitting coach for the Padres that he turned down.
Yeah, that's what I read too. Reports were that he was offered it and then he declined it and said that he said that he was going to stay retired, and you can't blame him. He's got 3 kids. One's grown in her 30s, and then he's got 2 kids that are in high school, Christian and Maddie. And obviously, Maddie, you probably know her story. She has Prader-Willi syndrome. So raising a special needs daughter, he's able to spend a lot of time. I know he's got a place in Florida. He's got a place in Arizona. I don't know if he still has his place in Pittsburgh or not. I knew he bought a house at one point in Pittsburgh. I'm not sure what the situation is with that, but I actually spoke to him. I was supposed to go to an event with him. He's still doing his charity events for Prader-Willi syndrome. He was going to do it. Spring training shut down on Thursday. His event was supposed to be that next day. So I would have had a chance to catch up to him, but
But smart move though. Look at Dusty Baker, right? There was a guy you thought you'd never hear again, and Houston needed someone consistent to come in and kind of right the ship. That's Hurdle. Hurdle might end up being the manager of the Mets in the next couple of years.
You never know. Yeah. I mean, and these guys they call them baseball lifers for a reason. These guys are around for a long time. Dusty, is one of those guys. Dusty's, been in baseball, 50 years maybe?
Right.
If not more. And the guy's got a great resume. He's well-liked. He's, nobody's a bad word to say about Dusty Baker at all. So,
I have a couple. I booed him on the blackout game.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he's heard his fair share of boos. but a guy like that, though, is very well-liked and very well-respected around the game. And obviously see him take over, a troubling situation like they had in Houston. He's coming in these times, having to, basically, fix a dumpster fire, for lack of a better term. And they made the World Series, know. So, a guy like Clint Hurdle, I would never rule anything out, but I think he's also enjoying his time with Carla and the kids right now.
Hey, let's switch gears a little bit to hockey, Robby, as well with the Penguins. I'm going to hit you with the same question I hit you with about the Buccos. The Pens, where were they as far as what path do you think they were on here until everything was shut down? Do you think they were a Stanley Cup contender? Was this a team that was going to go deep? I know the Eastern Conference was extremely stacked this year. Yeah. A lot of good teams.
Well, let me just give you a disclaimer. I don't particularly cover the Pens, so I don't know them that well on a daily basis. So I can't give you, maybe as much a breakdown as I can with the Pirates, having been around the Pirates every day for the last 7 years. But I would say this, it seemed like they sure had a heck of a chance to win it all. I mean, when you're in the tournament every year, and I got to tell you, you got 87 and 71 in your lineup. I mean, how the heck do you not have a chance to hold that cup over your head every year, given that they've done it 3 times?
Right.
It's not like they're a team without hope or a team without pedigree in the 2010s. So, they won the cup, 3 and 4 years ago, 16 and 17. So, it seemed like they were, they had hit a little bit of a rough patch. If I remember correctly, in like February, they'd, hit a little bit of a struggle, and seemed like they were trying to find their footing a little bit on that West Coast trip. And I know they were supposed to play a game in Columbus the day spring training was shut down. So I can't give you a detailed answer. I apologize for that. I just don't know the team well to speak with any kind of authority on it. But you'd ask me, I wouldn't bet against them in a long playoff run. Would you?
No, not at all. And we don't speak to hockey as much as baseball and football.
Right.
So we speak your language. I was just trying to be nice.
Yeah. Hey, Rob, last summer, my brother and I took a road trip to Cincinnati with our kids. We scalped some overpriced tickets, sat right behind the Pirate bench, and that's the night that Myles Garrett came and wanted to beat everybody up on the field.
Myles Garrett, the guy that plays for the Browns?
Oh, no, not Myles Garrett. I'm sorry.
You mean Amir Garrett?
Amir Garrett, pardon me. And so we're sitting there right behind the bench watching all of this happen. You had a front row seat. What was your take when you saw him charge the whole club?
That was one of the crazier days I've ever worked in my life. So Garrett, the batter before, I think it was Jose Osuna hit a home run off Garrett, or it was off somebody. I can't remember who else. I think it was Osuna hit a home run, hit a 3-run homer. And then Garrett got Kevin Newman to ground out. It was like a 3-1 put out. And he kind of slammed his glove at Newman a little bit with the tag at first base. And then Josh Bell was like on deck. Maybe it was when he came into the game and he kind of looked at Josh Bell and it looked like he kind of mouthed something to him. And I kind of looked up like, wait a minute, is he like mouthing Josh Bell? I'm like, all right, whatever.
Not the guy that I would mouth, but.
Yeah. And then, yeah, exactly. Of all people, I'm not sure Josh Bell would be the one I'd trash talk.
Yeah.
But somebody, I don't know who, somebody from the Pirates dugout, he yelled something. Somebody yelled something back. And then that was it. he just started charging. And then I remember Chris Archer got thrown out of that game, and he didn't even do anything. He just sat there. And I know he had gotten thrown out, and he was standing by the inside of the dugout where I am stationed. And I said, Chris, why day 3? He's like, they got the wrong guy. He's like, they must have thought I said something, but I swear I didn't say anything at all. So he was unfairly thrown out of the game. I remember that happened. I know Kyle Crick got thrown out of the game. I know Felipe Vasquez got thrown out of the game. So did Keone Kella for leaving the either the dugout or the clubhouse. I can't remember. I think Kella, maybe Vasquez came out of the clubhouse, and Kella, I don't know. Kella's not a guy who would fight either, to be honest with you. But it was crazy. What I remember is David Bell being tackled under Rick Eckstein, who is secretly strong. I would not mess with Rick Eckstein either. I remember David Bell yelling at Clint Hurdle words that I cannot repeat here or anywhere unless it was an area that I know nothing was being recorded. Yeah. I remember Amir Garrett going crazy, and a bunch of chaos happening like 8 feet in front of me, and I could not believe what I was seeing. And honestly, I didn't think there was an end in sight to that brawl.
Well, I didn't know when it would end, right? And the strangest thing was they announced right before that inning that Puig had been traded. That started going around, and
Puig had been traded. Puig, that's the other thing. Puig had been traded the inning before the fight.
Right.
And then the fight happened, and they kept him in the game after the fight. They had traded him to Cleveland. That happened too.
Right.
And in those situations, we've seen it many times. Many times we've seen guys get traded in the middle of a game, and you pull them from the game because, a message gets down and say, hey, get this guy out of the game right now. You don't want him to tweak a hamstring or,
get punched in the face.
Right. You don't want anything could happen. A guy get around first base and turn an ankle. You just never know. A hamstring, anything. Guy, collides into somebody. I mean, anything could happen. But I remember they kept Puig in the game after they had traded him, which I thought was absolutely insane. But really, what made sense that night? I mean, nothing made at that point in time.
I remember when Garrett came in, I don't know if you got the same perception, but he started warming up like a madman. He started throwing from behind the mound fastballs. There was an altercation with the umpire before he even started. You just knew something was ready to break there.
Yeah, it seemed like he started mouthing as soon as he got into the game. As soon as he came in to warm up, if I remember correctly, he had mouthed something to Josh Bell. And I just pitchers come in, they don't say anything to anybody other than their own catcher, and that's just to devise, talk about whoever the next batter is they're going to face. So yeah, that was a little, that was probably a top 5 or 10 crazy game I've ever worked in my entire life.
Well, Robby, you got to give Brian the benefit of the doubt on the Myles Garrett thing, because him and his brothers saw that over the summer, and then they followed that up by going to that Steeler-Brown game this past fall. Right. So Brian and his brothers got to witness 2 Pittsburgh sports.
So you're the guy. So you're the guy that made Myles Garrett take Mason Rudolph's helmet off and try to hit him with it, huh?
I was part of it. What happened for us was that game was out of hand. The Steelers blew that game, and we left. We were with, my dad was there with my brothers, and it was everyone started to turn where it was kind of a friendly game.
Right.
We knew they were going to win, and it started to get rowdy, so we left.
I watched it on TV. I remember that was I watched it on television.
Thursday night, yeah. So we walked back to the hotel, and my wife sends me a message and says, "This is why I hate the NFL." And I wrote back, "Why? Because the Steelers lost?" And she goes, "Are you not still at this game?" And so, we start sprinting, and she texts me and says, Mason Rudolph was hitting his head with a helmet, and you just don't even understand what that even means. So I still put that Cincinnati Red fight over Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph, but both were, some mayhem in Ohio. Pittsburgh won some in Ohio this year.
That was so funny. Do you guys, I'm going to tell you a little common misconception. I'm looking at your comments here. I see one that said, family and I ran in a Pirates 5K a few years ago.
Yeah.
I emceed. So I always get mistaken for Joe Klimchak. So that person thinks I'm Joe Klimchak. That was not me that emceed that Pirates 5K. That is Joe Klimchak, who does a great job as the Pirates MC. And
I was going to say, Klimchek looks like he's in great shape. Not that you don't, Robby, but
yeah, no, that'd be accurate. I'm not, and Joe is, but that's super funny because I get called. People think I'm Joe about 50% of the time, and people think I'm me the other 50%. So it's pretty. Thank you for the comment, but that was Joe. That was not me.
So, Robby, that's not you doing those West Shore commercials that I see every day on TV.
I do get my fair share of texts from that as well. And I tell my friends that come to games, they say, people will say something. I said, oh, no, you think I'm Joe. And I'll tell you a funny story. I actually keep a photo in my phone, in my favorites of Joe and I, because there have been people that don't believe me when I say that I'm not him. And I said, I swear, like I wouldn't mess with random people like that, who think I'm Joe. I said, I'm really not Joe. Like I swear. So I show them the picture, like, oh my God, you guys look and sound alike. I said, I know. I get it with Potash too.
Oh, you do?
Not that we look alike, but we sound alike, which we do.
Yeah, for sure.
You do sound alike. That's a good call.
Nope, did I lose you guys' audio?
Potash got all the grade going on now, doesn't
I think I lost your audio.
Uh-oh. Still got us, Robby?
I can't hear you.
Robby, can you hear us now? No?
Can
you click out and click back in? Wonder if we can.
Let's see if we can hide them out.
Click out. Maybe put in the comments.
There you go. Uh-oh, he's typing.
Can you hear us now, Robby?
We lost you. All right. There he is. Robby Incmikoski. I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened. We said he sounded like – maybe Potash disconnected it when he heard that he said that he sounds like him. Robby, is that back? Did it click in? And there he goes. And there he goes.
Maybe you'll click back in. Now, this is always a fun game when we have a guest on. Will they click back in? Who was it last week that did? Was Paul Alexander? He ended up coming back at the end.
Paul clicked back in, but it took him like 10 minutes.
Yes.
But he did tell me that he started running around his house because – hold on, here he is. He's back. Let's see if that worked. Paul said that he ran around his house trying to find a phone that would work, and we got him back fast. Hey, Robby, how about now? Is that better?
I love – for some reason, I lost audio. That was weird.
We were just saying Paul Alexander was on last week, and his audio went down, and he was gone for 10 or 15 minutes, and he had to borrow his wife's cell phone, and it wasn't charged. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
It was weird. The audio just went. I don't know how. All of a sudden, I couldn't hear you guys. I'm not Joe. That's it. But I appreciate the compliment. But I'm not.
Or Dan Potash, right?
Yeah, we thought Potash unplugged you.
Hey, you know what? It's all compliment. None of it ever offends me. None of it ever offends me. When people, it's all compliment. When they call me Joe, they call me Potash. I'll take it.
Rob, I saw you. We try to catch a couple Bucco games on the road every year. You're working hard, man. It's obviously not a 9 to 5, but when you get to the stadium, we were at Citi Field 2 years ago for the Mets, and you were working hard, man. And you had some great tributes to Shea Stadium, which we loved, and my son loved it too.
Yeah,
you're a big part of it for him too. So, but you're working hard, man. How many of these ideas that get on that you throw out during the game are pre-planned, and how many of them do you just run into a cute kid who's got a great shirt on?
It's a combination of both. Good question. Before every series, I send out an email to the production crew and the announcers. It has about, I don't know, a 3-game series, for argument's sake, probably about 15 things that are out there just that are kind of pre-planned. And my job, as you probably know, if you watch our telecast, is to humanize these guys, and just kind of make the fans feel a little bit of a personal connection to these guys, because you have thank you for that. I'm back, Dan Potash. I appreciate that. Dan's one of my best friends in television. I'm not even making that up. He's one of my best friends, and he's a wonderful, wonderful guy. You would say just look like him. I was way wrong. Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Kevin.
Same thing, Michael.
You do look like Chickless. I'm sorry, Robert. Give me the rundown again. So you send an email and say, hey,
yeah. So I get an email. I send on an average on 3-game series, I probably send out about 15 ideas, and we talk over them with the producer, and then obviously stuff happens throughout the course of a 3-game series. So in the beginning of a series, I'll put out ideas for certain things, whether it's showing off areas of the ballpark, or a connection between a certain guy. Like one example, if you saw Cole Tucker was playing the MLB The Show video game, and he was playing with Rhys Hoskins from the Philadelphia Phillies. And he was joking. He said, man, if you hit a home run, I'll name my, and right as he throws the pitch, Hoskins hits a home run. He's like, oh, never mind. So like something ridiculous like that, I would just take something like that, and put it in my files and say, hey, that was kind of a cool moment. If I get a chance to go talk to Rhys about it, I will. And kind of, makes for a little cool story. I mean, some people, think some of the stories are stupid, and some of them are. But you know what? The monotony of a 3-hour baseball game,
it's baseball, man.
Break it up. So I'm never offended. People say, hey, that was stupid or that was useless or anything like that. Dude, we work in the entertainment world. You know what I mean? Especially, now you see people on the front line, nurses, doctors, and so on, firemen, paramedics. I mean, EMTs, it goes on and on and on. The list of people distributing food right now, food delivery people, restaurants, everything, supermarkets. So they're the things that really matter in life. So I work in the candy store of life. So, I'm okay with all of it, but we just try to make it fun. We try to entertain. We try to inform. And the one thing we take a lot of pride in collectively as a group is we're always prepared. We are always prepared for what we do. We're never flying by the seat of our pants. Everything that we do is with purpose. It makes, we try to make it as informative as we can. And we go to lengths, I think, that not a lot of people realize, whether it's, to dig up a photo of, one time I did a story when Zach Davies was on the Brewers. He has since been traded to the Padres, but Zach Davies and Joe Musgrove grew up together in San Diego and played against each other in high school tournaments, and they played together on travel tournaments. So Joe's father saw me talking about it. We gave a mention one time, and he sent me a picture of Joe, Zach Davies, and Austin Hedges, the catcher from the Padres. And I had done a story on that, and it's just, you got to, kind of try to dig up any kind of photos, that kind of stuff. That's pretty cool to kind of tell a story and tell a backstory, because a lot of these guys invariably are connected in one way or another, whether it's playing against each other in the minor leagues, whether it's playing travel ball together, whether they were in the same draft class, whether they share the same agent, whether they're from the same hometown and work out together, like Anthony Rendon and Jameson Taillon, both from Houston. They know each other very well over the years. Paul Goldschmidt, same thing. So a lot of these guys, Michael Waka, another one, that's just one example of many, but a lot of these guys know each other from growing up. So we just try to dig up any kind of cool human interest stories that would make you say, you know what, I really like this guy. Or, hey, Cole Tucker's got a brother who's probably going to be a first-round pick. His younger brother, Carson Tucker, who's a senior in high school, where Cole went. But not a lot of people know that Cole's older brother, Quinn, is a photographer. He's a photographer, and he wants nothing to do with baseball. And he's making his mark in photography, and he's got a cool story to tell. So, a lot of people don't realize, little factoids about, like Joe Musgrove's sister works at Costco. I mean, she's going through an insane time right now in the corporate world of Costco and logistics, trying to keep up with everything. So, a lot of people, I just try to shed a little light, stories that, we know behind the scenes. We just try to share it, and we just try to come up with a plan that people might think is a little interesting.
And it's uniquely baseball, man, right? I mean, NFL, NHL, all these guys are killing each other. That's not the feel of a regular season baseball game.
Well, and plus, look at the pace of the sport.
Basketball, of course, yeah.
Every 24 seconds or less, you have a shot being taken in basketball. Hockey, it never ends, because unless you have a stoppage of play, and a lot of Potash's stuff comes back from commercial before the puck is even dropped, and he's done talking by the time the puck is dropped, because he doesn't want to talk over a potential goal. So you look at football, you got 35 seconds, 40 seconds between plays. So you got to get in, you got to get out. Baseball, man, you get a foul ball, you could have 45 seconds between a foul ball. And then there are times, hey, as you know, there are times when I'm talking and you just can't get a story out in 30 to 45 seconds because it's a good story. And you're going to lack the context if you don't tell it properly. So what happens is I got to talk over another pitch. And I swear there are times I am praying it is a ball that takes. And a best case scenario is a foul ball, because that enables you more time to come back. Or the best case scenario is actually a broken bat, because then the pitcher has time, or a pitch and change. Then you have time to go into certain things, but you have a commercial during a pitch and change, 90% of the time. So, but you get a broken bat or a foul ball, you have time to really get into story. So that's kind of cool. And Baseball lends itself to more storytelling, obviously. It's why you have so many characters, like a Steve Blass, a Greg Brown, a Bob Walk, those types of things.
Well, you got to have those stories in baseball, man. As Brian knows, I've been broadcasting high school football, basketball, and even baseball for the last 20 years. And imagine it on a high school level, man. At least Major League Baseball, you have some stats and some other stuff around you. High school, it's like, man, it could be brutal. And a whole inning could last 45 minutes. And you got to have that story ready. So
we did it. We did high school football here for a long time. It's harder to dig up information. Social media has been a lifesaver for that.
But I agree with Brian, man. You guys do a great job. I always enjoy the fathers' weekends when the fathers travel with the team, and you're always out there interviewing those dads and getting that inside information from the dads. That's one of my favorite weekends.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. We worked very hard at that, and the fathers are really cool. The Pirates, it really is, and that's Clint Hurdle idea. Give Clint a ton of credit for that, and Frank Coonley for making that happen. That's just a cool experience, and the joy on the dads' faces is really priceless.
Well, Robby, thanks for the time tonight. I know you didn't have to do this. You had nothing else to do because we can't leave the house. But I know you didn't need to do this.
I was sweeping up leaves before I got on here. So you guys relieved me of one of my house chores, and I appreciate that.
Take it. Robby, thank you so much. Hopefully you get some baseball back soon, and we'll see you on the air, man.
So.
We're big fans.
My pleasure, guys. Anytime you want.
Thanks,
Robby. Thank you. There he is. Robby Incmikoski. Thank you, my friend.
You got it.
There he goes. What a guy.
Nice guy. He is one of the better ones too, man. I mean, we've Dan Potash did it for a while before. I think Dan might have done it before. Did it before Robby did it, and Dan Potash was pretty good too, doing those unique stories during the games. But Robby's
very friendly, right? It works that he's friendly.
Yeah, very much so, man. Very entertaining, and those stories are good. I saw your wife Marcy said that as well. She loved the insider information during those broadcasts, and that Father's Weekend, man, is cool. That's always one of my. That was all. I hope they still do it. Maybe they won't. I didn't know that was a Hurdle thing, but hopefully they still do that because that was a fun weekend to watch those games.
Yeah, no, they do, and I think he's for me, baseball is the soundtrack of spring and summer, and I think it's really missed right now more than ever. At least for me.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get it back sooner than later. Hey, tomorrow on the show, Josh Shapiro, the musician, is going to be here. He's teamed up with the Greater Pittsburgh Food Bank for music, so we'll talk to him. And awesome. Johnny Hartwell later this week, Chris Shevlin from Robert Morris, and Cody Sable, who, Ed, have you looked him up yet, Cody Sable's artwork?
You sent me that stuff last night for me to look into a little bit, man. Very cool. Very cool. I'm
anxious all cleats for the Steelers.
Yeah, anxious to talk to him, man. Some good guests lined up this week, including him.
Yeah. Well, thanks to Robby, and Ed, thanks to you. You look great tonight. Michael Chiklis like.
I like. Who was it? Alex that commented. That was fun.
It's funny. You ruined something for me. The Bulls documentary was on last night, episode 3 and 4 on ESPN. Every time I see Jordan now, I have to get out of my mind. I'm like, it's not Ed. It's not Ed. That's not Ed. True.
Well, what's funny is, man, real quick before we go off, I have those two saved and ready to go for tonight. I didn't watch them last night because we watched we wanted to watch a movie, so we saw Rocket Man last night, which was the Elton John movie.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very good. If you like Elton John, both my wife and I are Elton John fans. We've seen him live. My wife more than me, but she's kind of turned me into an Elton John fan. The movie's great. Excellent movie.
Is it?
Very good. Very good. If you get a chance to check it out, I think it's on Netflix or Epic, one of those things. Anyhow, I did watch, though, episode 2 that was leading up to 9 o'clock before we watched the movie. And when Jordan came on a couple of times, I thought to myself, damn, he looks like me.
You're like looking in the mirror. You're like, is that me?
I'm like, I mean, Michael Jordan now, not when he played in North Carolina when he was skinny.
Oh, of course.
He's heavier.
Right. Did your wife think that it looks like you?
We never talked about it. I'll have to mention it to her. I got to do the sign like this. There, right.
Yeah, I see it. Well, tonight you'll love it. Episode 3 and 4 are about in-depth with Dennis Rodman. And then that's 3. And then episode 4 is the battle of Jordan, Pippen, and the Bulls against the bad boys, the Detroit Pistons.
Can't wait, man. I absolutely loved the first 2. Last night, again, watching the second one for the second time was awesome. Can't wait to see 3 and 4.
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait to see it. You'll enjoy it. I want to hear your review. Well, thank you, Ed, and thank you, Michael Jordan. Thank Robby Incmikoski. That was a fun hour with Robby, and we'll see you tomorrow night, everybody. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night.
Stay healthy, everyone.
Goodbye, everybody.